Good afternoon, class. So today we're going to have our lecture on project scope management, defining success. So today we embark on a crucial journey into the world of project management. Specifically, we'll be diving deep into the project scope management. So think of scope as the blueprint of what our project will deliver, and just as importantly, what it won't deliver. This understanding is fundamental to project success. We're drawing upon the wisdom of the Project Management Institute, particularly the Project Management Book of Knowledge, 5th edition, which provides the globally recognized standard for our profession. So let's get started. So before we focus on scope, let's revisit what project management is all about. It's not just about having a good idea, it's about applying the right knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to bring that idea to life and meet all the project's requirements. This is achieved through a structured approach involving five key process groups: initiating to define the project, planning to chart the course, executing to do the work, monitoring and controlling to keep everything on track, and closing to wrap things up. Now, what exactly is a project? It's a temporary effort with a clear start and end aimed at creating something unique. It could be a product, a service, or a result. So think about building a school, developing a new learning app, or even organizing a school event. Even if you build multiple identical chairs for a classroom, each chair project is unique due to its specific location, the team involved, and the exact circumstances. The temporary aspect refers to the project's duration, not necessarily the lifespan of what it creates. It's important to distinguish projects from ongoing operations. Operations are about the day-to-day business, repetitive tasks that keep the organization running. Projects, on the other hand, are temporary and aim to create something new or change something existing. Often, projects are initiated to improve operations, develop new products that will then be managed by operations, or to implement significant changes in how the organization functions. That brings us to our main topic, project scope management. This area of project management is critical because it defines the boundaries of our project. It's about ensuring we do all the necessary work and, crucially, only the necessary work. Doing too much is wasteful, and doing too little means we won't meet the objectives. Think of it as drawing a very clear line around our project's objectives and deliverables. In scope management, we often talk about two types of scope: the product scope and the project scope. Product scope refers to the features and functions of the actual thing we're creating: the building, the software, the events program. Project scope, however, is about the work we have to do as a project team to deliver that product scope. It's the effort involved in planning, executing, and controlling the creation of the product. To manage scope effectively, we establish a scope baseline. This isn't just one document, it's a collection of three key items: the project scope statement, which details what the project will deliver; the work breakdown structure, or WBS, which breaks down the work into manageable pieces; and the WBS dictionary, which provides detailed information about each piece. This baseline is a reference point for measuring progress and managing changes. Our first process in scope management is plan scope management. This is where we lay the groundwork, establish the rules and processes for how we'll define, validate, and control scope throughout the project. Think of it as creating the how-to manual for our scope management activities. This plan is crucial because it guides all subsequent scope-related work. To create our scope management plan, we need several key inputs. The project management plan gives us the overall project context. The project charter provides a high-level scope information. Enterprise environmental factors are things like organizational culture that can influence our approach, and organizational process assets are existing templates and historical data that help us plan efficiently. The main outputs from this planning process are the scope management plan itself and the requirements management plan. The scope management plan tells us how we'll handle scope definition, validation, and control. The requirements management plan outlines how we'll identify, document, and manage all the detailed requirements which are needed for the project. Next class, we collect requirements. This is where we actively engage stakeholders to understand exactly what they need the project and its deliverables to do. We document these needs, which then form the foundation for everything we do in scope management, from defining the scope statement to creating the WBS or the work breakdown structure. So how do we collect the requirements? We have a variety of powerful techniques. We can talk directly to stakeholders through interviews, gather feedback from groups in focus groups, or facilitate workshops, generate ideas using brainstorming, build early models with prototypes to get feedback, and analyze existing documents. The best approach often involves a combination of these methods. The outputs here are crucial. Requirements documentation, which details all the identified needs in a clear format, and the requirements traceability matrix, which acts like a map linking each requirement back to its origin and forward to the deliverables that will satisfy it. This matrix is vital for ensuring we don't miss anything. With requirements gathered, we define scope. This is where we take those detailed requirements and craft a clear, comprehensive description of the project and its deliverables. We explicitly state what is included in the project and just as importantly, what is excluded. This detailed description forms the project scope statement. The project scope statement is a vital tool. It includes a detailed description of the product, lists what we consider acceptable deliverables, identifies any exclusion, so what's out of scope, and documents assumptions we're making and constraints we must adhere to. This provides clarity for everyone involved. Once the scope is defined, we need to create the work. This is done through the Create WBS process. The work breakdown structure, or WBS, is like a hierarchical outline of all the work required for the project. We decompose the deliverables and work into smaller manageable pieces called work packages, which are the lowest level at which we can accurately estimate. The composition is the key here. We break down the big picture into smaller, more digestible parts. This makes planning, estimating, and tracking progress much more manageable. So imagine building a house, you break it down to the foundation, the framing, the electrical, the plumbing, etc. And then further it into specific tasks for each. This structure ensures nothing is missed and provides clear ownership. As we complete portions of the project, we need to ensure they meet expectations. This is where validate scope comes in. It's about getting formal acceptance of our completed deliverables from the stakeholders. This process confirms of what we built actually matches what was agreed upon and meets the defined acceptance criteria. It's important to differentiate validate scope from control quality. Control quality checks if the deliverable is correctly built according to specifications. Validate scope is the step where the customer or sponsor formally accepts the deliverable, confirming it meets their needs and expectations. Often, control quality happens first, then validate scope. Finally, class, we have control scope. This is an ongoing process throughout the project. It means we continuously monitor the project and product scope to detect any deviations from our baseline. If changes are proposed, we manage them through a formal change control process to prevent scope creep and ensure the project stays within its defined boundaries. The biggest enemy of scope control is scope creep. That is a gradual, uncontrolled expansion of the project scope without corresponding adjustments to time, cost, or resources. By diligently controlling scope and managing changes formally, we prevent scope creep and keep our projects on track. In essence, project scope management is about ensuring we're doing the right work and doing that work correctly. It starts with meticulously planning moves to clearly defining what's in and out, breaks it down to manageable pieces, gets formal acceptance, and continuously monitors for any unauthorized changes. Mastering these processes will significantly increase your chances of project success. So let's recap the most important points. A clear scope definition is the bedrock of any successful project. Engaging stakeholders throughout the process is vital for gathering accurate requirements and gaining acceptance. Implementing a robust change and control process is non-negotiable for managing scope. And remember, the work breakdown structure is your best friend for breaking down complexity. These principles are fundamental for any project that you're gonna be undertaking. Okay. So now let's put this into practice. Imagine you are managing a project to organize um, something in your organizations or companies that you work for. So take a few minutes to jot down who your key stakeholders might be. So you have to think who they are, then briefly list a few things that would definitely be in the scope for this project and a few things that would be out of scope. This exercise will help you solidify your understanding of project scope management. So if you have further questions, class, on project scope management, since tomorrow is May 1, we won't meet, you could ask me anytime through the chat or through our next synchronous lecture. So thank you for your time today. So we've covered a lot of ground in project scope management. So remember, understanding and controlling scope is paramount to delivering successful projects. We'll continue our exploration of other critical knowledge areas in our upcoming sessions. So see you next week, class.